G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome to another motorcycle filming and gear video. Now I just want to say right from the start, this is not a video that has some magic device or powers in stopping vibration in cameras mounted on motorcycles. So if that's what you're here for, just stop playing and look somewhere else. I don't have the answer to it. Alright, so this video is basically what I do to alleviate that, and there's most probably this is all you're going to do anyway. Basically the thing is, you've got to work out on your bike where is the least amount of vibration on it. The second thing is having a mounting system that is not some weak little plastic or small thing that's going to add to the vibration. Clamping down on it and stuff like that. And then the third thing is your camera. Does your camera have the capabilities of reducing some of that vibration? And then the next step from that is when you go to your editing software, does your editing software have something in there like a stabilization that you can use? And there's all varying different little things in how I do that, I suppose. What's that saying? Oh, it says focus. Oh, my camera's bloody telling me to do something. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I've got the C50 Boulevard and I've got the bloody DR650. It doesn't matter what bike you got, they all work the same. We start it up, and I'm going to start this, I'll start max up, and then I'm just going to touch around, and then we'll see where's going to be the best. Alright, it's going to get noisy. Beautiful. Alright, so hopefully you guys can hear me. So all I do is I touch, I've got a lot of vibration there. I've got vibration there but not much. That's good, good. And then I start getting vibration as I come out, which is logical. It's the same deal. So you get a lot more vibration out here as you do in here. So this here is the best place for me to mount a camera. Coming around the back, on this plate here, I can feel it's got a lot of vibration on that plate. The plate down here, not as much. So that's better. On these racks here, there's a lot less vibration on here than there is up here. Way more vibration there than there. And that's where I mount for my rear one, because that works really well. And then there's, so that's pretty good there. A lot of vibration there, not as much there. That's a noisy bloody bugger of a bike. And I've got the silencer thing in it. So, I mean, that's the simple part of, that's the first thing, that's the foundation that you've got to do is, on the bike, find where the least amount of vibration is coming. So that's the base thing. Alright, so now we'll look at the mount. Okay, so mounts. Get a solid mount. These are RAM mounts. These are solid. This is all I use when I do mounting. I've tried a lot of other stuff. Most of the stuff that I've had... Pooks! Shh! Most of the shitty little bloody mount stuff that I've had have just been thrown. I just was looking around and I've got this is like a suction thing, but this is made out of plastic, and it's quite dinky dye. It does the job, but I think, and I don't know this, the rocket scientists will bloody get on here, and so look in the comments, check out what other people are saying, because there are a lot smarter people out there than me. But we've got to put up with the vibration from the bike, which then makes this vibrate. But the shitty stuff seems to add more vibration on top of what the bike is. So you want something that's only going to, and that's what I believe this does, this will only vibrate the same amount of whatever's vibrating out of the bike. It's not adding extra vibration to it. It's just this little thing. I mean, you wouldn't use this, but this is some gimmicky little bloody plastic crap that you put on your bike to use for mounting. That's what's going to add extra vibration to it. And then there's things like this. This actually seems to work pretty well, but obviously using a clamp down system is going to work even better. But I do use this, especially on the back, and we've done it on Nays Posty, and I've done lots of other things, but yeah, they really work well. Alright guys, so number 3 is your camera. Now, I'm running, the drift cameras don't have any stabilization with them as far as I know. The Sony does, and that's one of the features that I really like about the Sony Action Cam. So this has image stabilization built into it, and it's an electronic thing. So as you're going along, and if it feels that vibration, what it does is it cuts down the footage to then be able to manage that stuff. And I'll show you on a piece of paper what I mean in regards to that. So get a camera that has that, whether it's a Sony, I don't know whether the other ones or the GoPros have that, but yeah, if you've got that stabilization. When you do the stabilization, sometimes it can make your footage, what I call, it makes it look fake. It's just too, and it's not like it's live, if you know what I mean. But the stabilization on the Sony Action Cam is a really nice balance. It stops you from getting headaches from bloody watching the footage, if you know what I mean. Alright, I'll bring you over here and I'll show you how that works. Alright guys, try and do this from behind the camera. So this is what, when you're pressed record, this is what your camera is seeing. When you turn that, which I have on all the time, and that is that image stabilization, if this image is vibrating, if it's sitting on a tripod, you'll get all of that. But if it's vibrating, this camera is smart enough to crop down the field of view to like that, so that when this vibrates all around the place, it's still keeping it, and I don't know, I think it might cut frames as well while it's doing it. I know it's pretty bloody clever shit that they do, but it basically stabilizes it. So I know when I've been on the bike and the one that's facing me, I can actually tell when I'm watching the footage on the computer, I can see it. It's like someone's actually holding the camera and moving it, like there is someone, but there's nobody there. It's the camera actually doing it. It's just adjusting and working out where to keep it so it keeps it nice and smooth. Like I said, this is kind of like no expert stuff. Look at the comments or just go and search online, because there's plenty of experts out there that'll set you straight if you can understand the bastards. Alright, now I'm going to go inside. Do I have to go inside? No, I don't. So the second thing was the editing software. So I use Sony Vegas, and in Sony Vegas I have some little FX effects, if you want to call it that. I think that's what they might call it. And one of them is stabilization. So I can grab that stabilization, apply it to a clip, and then I can tell it how much to stabilize it. So I could go low, medium or high. And if I want to get technical, I can use number systems as well, but let's just go low, medium, and high. And basically what that does is, it does pretty much the same as this. I know it actually cuts out frames to match them all up while it does it. So when you actually do that feature, it kind of takes a while for it to render and do it all. And that's a bit of a pain. See, with this camera, I never have to use that. With the drift cameras, I had to use that stabilization, and it was trying to find, making it not look fake, as to having a little bit vibration and not. And see, I'm rambling now. But that's basically, say, your software. If you've got that stabilization, that's what you can use. So there's 3 things to do. Anything after that, as for magic bloody magic things, I have no idea. Search Google, the all-seeing oracle. Now we are going to go inside, because I'll finish this up with talking about those SD cards. So the different types, the different speeds, and the ideas behind what you should be using for what camera you use. Kind of just a rough thing. Same thing, I'm no expert, but give you an overview. Cool. Okay guys, so SD cards. Now bear with me, this is it's a bloody jungle, I tell you. To start with, we have different size cards. So you've got your SD, your mini SD and your micro SD. So this mini one, I don't actually have one of those. It may be more towards particular devices, but anything that I've ever used, it's the SD and then the micro SD. So that this SD card is what is used in the camera that you're looking at me on, and also this one. The micro is what is used in the Sony, some of the later drift ones, some of the older drift ones I think had the bigger one in it, but they've all moved to the micro. Now these cards are used to, you know, laptops, tablets, bloody phones, all over the joint. They're multi bloody use. So whatever camera you've got, you have to, it'll be either it'll use that one or it'll use that one. So there's no, it's just whatever your camera uses, that's what you've got to go with. Now what we'll do is we'll go over the SD, and then there will be a HC or an XC, and I'll line you up ready for that. Alright guys, so the next bit is the SDHC and the SDXC. So this is what we're focusing on, is the HC and the XC and what it means. So it doesn't matter what size or shape bloody card you've got, each of those cards will come either HC or XC. Now remember, there's older stuff, there's newer stuff, there's all stuff in between. This is just kind of like the mainline stuff. So what the HC means is that that card will only, sorry, I've got to make sure I'm looking, will only go up to 32 gigabytes of storage, whereas the XC actually goes up to 512 gigabytes of storage. So I mean, you could get a 16 gigabyte HC card, you could get I don't know, you could get a 64 gigabyte I suppose in the XC, or something a bit less, but that's the maximum data that you'll be able to get on that one card. Cool, so we've got that. I'm trying to get this myself. Alright, so the next thing we've got to do is look at the classes, so I'll get ready for that one now. Alright guys, so the next thing is the speed. The speed class, and this is by the SD Association. Now the speed, each of the cards will have a speed rating on it, unless they're really old before that association started, and then it could be bloody anything. So the speed class doesn't matter what form factor or what bloody shape they are. Doesn't matter whether it's a HC or a XC. The speed is of the ability of the card to receive information from the device, so from the camera. So what they have is there's four sorry guys. So there's four classes of speed class. So there's 2, 4, 6 and then 10. And now they've got this new 2, 1 and 3, and that's in a U. So that C, or the round, what looks like a round when you're looking at the tiny little bloody thing, it looks like it's in a circle, but actually it's a C, which means class. So it's class 2, class 4, class 6, class 10, and then that is a U, which means UHS, ultra high speed. This end of it is really for the, you know, the professional bloody photographers, videographers, or whatever. Not us bloody dickheads playing around with cameras. But you can still have one of those and use it. It doesn't matter. It just means that it might be a bit of overkill, which I actually have one of those, or a couple of those I think. So the thing we've got to do is go for starters. I hope I'm getting all this on the screen. That's no good, that's no good. That's okay as long as you're not doing full 1080 or 1920, like the full high definition video, which is what our bloody you know, our action cameras can actually do. That even you know, iPhones and cameras, they're capable of doing that full bloody business. So I would say to the number 6, no, get yourself a 10 class card. Now that's what all the cards that I now run are a 10 class or higher. A couple of the cards are that one, so they're the 1 and the 10 basically. I don't have any of those number 3s. Cool. So I just want to show you a quick experiment to understand that class and that speed. So hang on a minute. All right, bear with me, guys. I don't know if this is going to work. Now this camera, or let's just call it this device, can send information to the card that you put into it. That much information. So if you opened this up, the amount of information streaming out, that's what this device is sending to your card. So you've got to make sure your card can receive that information. So these particular ones, because they're class 10, they can receive that information. If I had a class 2 card or a 4 card, the device can send that information out, but the card can only receive that amount of information. So it bottlenecks. So that's why the class stuff is very important. It's no use trying to send all this information, like this high resolution information that the camera's putting out, and trying to jam it into one of these small class or small speed writable bloody cards. So if you have that, your footage is going to be pretty crappy because it just can't grab it all and hold it. It just loses it. It just overflows, I suppose, in a layman's talk. And anyway. So that's basically it, guys, with the SD cards. So just make sure, obviously, you've got the right card, which you already do, in your camera. Have a look at the symbols. I'll bring you down close on this screen because it'll show you a bit better. Now, don't worry about what the card looks like or the names or anything. The basic thing that we're going to look at, see, so it says it's an SD card, it's an XC. So that means that this one is a 64 gigabyte. If this was a HC, this number would only be 32 gig or lower. Now we can see here that it's a class 10. So that means it's going to be able to do the full resolution. Your device is going to be able to get all its information and not lose anything to the card. And then this has also got that U1. So they're both compatible between the two. So that's what you're looking for. And I tell you what, they're bloody hard to see sometimes. Alright guys, so there you go. I've just looked up some pricing. So, geez, I tell you what, the prices have bloody come down on them. So for my card here, which is it's a 32 gigabyte SD HC class 10, on Officeworks website they're $19.99. So they're bloody pretty. They are cheap. They're very cheap. So check your card. If you've got something less than that class 10, swap it over, and hopefully that might, if you're having bad footage or whatever, I don't know, but that's what I would say is the minimum to run with that. Now remember, I'm no expert. Check the comments, because guys will correct me if I've messed up. Rocket scientists will go into more bloody detail, but hopefully that's kind of like giving you guys an understanding of how those cards work. And if you're more interested, then you can get onto Google and bloody, maybe get more information and work shit out. But that's the base stuff. Cool bananas. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep on riding. Actually, guys, I've got one last thing. I just bloody thought about it. When I was talking about those mounts and the anti or the vibration, all that kind of stuff, I know someone's going to get on there and go, well, you can get this gimbal or this bloody contraption that you can sit your camera in and it won't bloody shake or whatever. You can get stuff like that, but I'm not going to put some big gimbal bloody thing on my motorbike just to do that. So I just thought I'd put that out there, because someone's going to say, Mark, no. Alright guys, one more bloody thing, I promise, and that is it. I was just doing the edit and then I thought, when you're buying an SD or when you're buying a card, I would recommend to buy it from a place like Officeworks or the local JB Hi-Fi. Someone that like a main brand or a main shop, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Or what I'm trying to say is, don't try and buy it from eBay, from an eBay seller that's selling it from their backyard or whatever, because obviously you can get cards that they'll say that's a verbatim, or it's a Sony card or a Alexa or whatever it is, and it's a class 10. And in actual fact, it's a knockoff and it's not a class 10, and you'll be wondering why it's not performing correctly. I mean, that's with everything. We've always got to watch out for, if something's super cheap, you kind of go, ooh, I don't know, that doesn't sound right to me, and normally it ain't right. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Just make sure that you buy the card. Go to Kmart or bloody Target or whatever, one of those places. Go in there and pick up those cards, because you'll know if it's coming from somewhere like that, it's going to be exactly what it says on there. All right, cool. And one last time, keep on riding.